Hello everyone, my name is John Kelmaranan from G11 Wisdom, Humes. My topic today is about communication breakdown. My Based on my own words, communication breakdown is a communication to define a failure to exchange information resulting in lack communication. That is my own word. For you, what is your own word about it? Before that, I'm gonna tell you what is the effect of communication breakdown. The effect of the communication breakdown is conflict is one of the major effect of communication breakdown is an association when a member of National Association of Mass Communication students spread a false rumors about member. The result can often be a verbal or physical altercation between two parties. That is the effect of communication. I will gonna show you some video about communication breakdown. I hope you gain a knowledge about it. Okay, let's go.
Let's have a quick talk about communication and how it breaks down in just your average sort of a conversation. And so let's say what would you say if you were sitting across from me, you and I were sitting in a room together, and I was saying to you, you know what, I am really glad that we're here today and that we have some time to spend together, and I really enjoy this conversation, and I really enjoy the opportunity to connect with you and work with you on this project that we're doing. All right? So let's say that I said those things, and this was me while I was saying it. All right? So that's one example. Okay? Now, let's try another example over here. And let's say that you and I were sitting in the same room, and I said, you know, I'm really glad that we've got this opportunity to have a conversation together. I'm glad we're working together. I'm grateful for the opportunity that we have to talk, and I really appreciate the time that you've taken to talk with me today. All right? And while I'm saying that, that's me. Now, I didn't write down what I said, and so I didn't say the same thing verbatim. But basically what happened during both of those conversations was that the words I used were about the same, right? So the words I used in those two conversations were about the same. But if this is me, the first time that I'm talking about it, you're probably more likely to believe me if I'm talking about how I'm happy to be here and glad we're having a conversation and how I'm happy to be working with you. If I'm smiling when I'm saying those things, you're more likely to believe that what I'm saying is true. And if I'm frowning, or if I'm looking out the window, or if I clearly have a bad attitude when I'm saying those things, even if I'm saying the exact same words, you're less likely to believe me, wouldn't you say? And there's some research that goes on about this, right? So if you look at communication, you can break communication down into three components, and the three components of a basic communication are words, tone, the tone of my voice. Oh, I'm so happy to be doing this presentation and talking about this stuff with you today. It's really fantastic, and I'm excited, and I'm glad to be doing it. Tone. I'm really excited to be doing this conversation with you. I'm really happy to be talking about tone with you and explaining to you what the different components are of a communication. Yeah, it's just awesome. Right? So, if I change my tone, I change the meaning entirely. So tone is critically important. And then the other part that we bring to any conversation, the other sort of main part is Body, not buoy. Body. Body language. All right. Now, so let's graph it. All right, let's make a wheel graph since we've got a lot of circles in this conversation here. I've got a circle for two different heads, a smiley head, a non-smiley head. Now, here's the interesting part. Of a conversation, 50% of what gets communicated in any conversation, half, and some will say more, some will say less, but half of what gets communicated in a conversation is body language, right? 50% of what we communicate in any conversation is body language. The tone of voice that we bring to a conversation, our tone, oops, oh, I keep doing that. Believe it or not, accounts for 40% of a communication, leaving a whopping 10% of the meaning of the message of the actual communication to the words that are being spoken. My personal theory is that's why contract law is such an incredibly lucrative business, is because when you're writing a contract, all you have to rely on is the written word that's in the contract. So the chances that the contract will be interpreted correctly after the fact, I'm going to say are about 10%, right? When things go sideways. So this is important information when you're having a conversation with somebody, when you're making a deal with somebody, when you're negotiating a contract with someone, when you're just basically having a conversation. If you're asking somebody where they want to have lunch, you are much more apt to find out whether they really want to have lunch at that fancy new vegan restaurant downtown if you're able to see their body language, hear their tone, and also hear the words. One of the great things about recent changes in the way we communicate are little emoticons, right? And so if I'm saying, yeah, that'd be really fantastic, if I write, yeah, that'd be really fantastic in an email to you, and I do that means like I'm winking at you, right? And so I might be kidding. And if I say, you're a bonehead, and I put one of these, and that means I'm just joking around. So emoticons have come into texting, SMS, and email communications as a way of adding a little bit more communication value to just the straight up written word. So think about these, and believe it or not, it's probably not a bad idea to study and use emoticons when you're having conversations through email, because it does give you the opportunity to add emotion, add a certain tone, if you will, to your written communications. But if you really want to have a conversation with somebody and you really want to know what it is that they're talking about and you really want them to understand what you're talking about, it's really, really important that you get in the room with whoever you want to communicate with. Because if you're not in the room, if you're on the phone, for example, then you've got words and tone of voice. And so you've got about half of the total communication that you can rely on, which is much better than just a pure written conversation. And if you're in the room with them, then you've got the words, you've got the tone, and you've got the body language. And those three things make up 100% of what's being communicated in any conversation. And those things are worth understanding.